If you're waiting on a PPP loan or EIDL grant, this video is for you. I've got brand new data to share on PPP loans, what's been approved so far, and some of the major delays the SBA is still facing, and what you can expect if you are still waiting. And I'm going to contrast that with the EIDL grant program because it's even more shocking when you compare the PPP rollout to the EIDL grant rollout. So watch until the end. Hey everyone, this is Ryder from Skip. I hope you're doing well. It's Thursday, January 28th in the evening. A very quick video update here because we have some new data on the PPP program approvals so far as of Sunday evening that I want to share with you, and then talk about some of the delays and compare that with the EIDL grant. So let's dive right in here. First of all, here's the summary of all PPP approved lending to date. That includes last year and this year. Over 5.5 million loans have been approved from the first draw and the second draw for a total net dollar amount of almost $600 billion. That's incredible. Here's the new draw, what's happened in the past 3 weeks. Over 400,000 loans have been approved for a net dollar amount of $35 billion. That is approximately 12% of the total funding. That's the total funding that was approved in the December stimulus package. In that package, there was $284 billion set aside for the PPP program. So, still a long way to go. A lot's been done, but many of the lenders that we've talked to think that more could be done. Despite the early rush, despite this success with the 400,000 approved loans here, it could be much more, and part of this is that technology is failing on the SBA side. I'll talk about that and some of the common errors. But to put this in context, we know that the EIDL grant program, which I talk about daily on this channel as well, is $40 billion. And as far as we know, no one has been contacted yet by the SBA about topping up to the full 10K or part of the 10K, right? The SBA said, we will contact you specifically for the targeted EIDL eligibility provision. If you are in a low-income area, we will contact you. That's $40 billion. Still haven't heard a peep. We're still waiting. Meanwhile, the PPP program is off and running through over 5,000 private lenders. That just goes to show you, I mean, both of these are being administered by the SBA, yet the process and timing is vastly different for both. And part of this is by design. You know, the SBA is putting the safety protocols in place to prevent the rampant fraud that happened to both programs in the first go around. So there's that. But part of that is just the timing. But many of you also just don't think that you qualify for PPP. I've talked about, well, you should really think about that because maybe you do. But many of you are just banking on the EIDL grant program. I mean, we did a survey, I think 2 weeks ago now, and we found that about 2/3 of people, at least all of you watching our channel, are eligible for both, or at least you said you're planning on applying for both. By the way, 2 links I want to mention here right now for all of you. I've mentioned these before, but if you haven't applied for a PPP loan and you know that you're eligible or you think you're eligible, go to trackpploan.com to apply with one of our partners. If you want a summary of this data and you've already applied for a PPP loan, you just want to keep up to date, of course you can do that on our Skip app. It's a free Skip app in the App Store. Just search Hello Skip. If you already have the app, of course you're way ahead of the game. Thank you. You can also get the app at trackpppdata.com. So if you've applied for a PPP loan and just want our free app, trackpppdata.com. We will have a lot of this data. The SBA will publish this quite frequently, so we will keep you up to date on the types of loans, etc. It's all very interesting to show. For example, we see the distribution by types of lenders, by states and territories, by loan size, and the top PPP lenders, and the industries as well that these businesses are in. All of this is to give you hope. You know, if you are a small business and you think, okay, this applies to me, this doesn't apply to me. You know, we are big on information and transparency here. So I want to jump here to loan size. Average loan size of this draw here, the 2021 PPP, is 87K. Look at the amount under 50K. Obviously, the high ones skew the data, of course, but look at the amount under 50K. That's 262,000 loans approved. 2/3 of all PPP loans are under $50,000, okay? So I've used this example a few times. Well, let's say that's you or you and one employee, but let's say your monthly payroll is $10,000. Maybe that's split between 2 people, let's say, okay? You would be eligible for meeting the other requirements, etc., on the PPP form, but you could potentially be eligible for $25,000. A $25,000 PPP loan. That's forgivable, so that would turn into a grant essentially if you use it for the correct reasons. So just keep that in mind. We get this question a lot from individuals, independent contractors, sole proprietors, but this is 2/3 of all loans are under $50,000. Now here is why there are delays, but let me just show you this before I talk about why there are delays. The top banks, you can see here, a lot of our partners aren't the banks directly, so that's why a lot of our partners aren't here, but our partners are helping hundreds and hundreds of thousands of folks apply and get approved. By the way, here are the demographics. It's very interesting that this report is more comprehensive than reports from last year. So the SBA is onto something. They're finally improving how they report data. You can see the gender breakdown here. Looks like it's about 3-to-1 male versus female in terms of businesses or business owners that have applied. We have ethnicity here as well. Most folks haven't answered that. It was optional on the form. And you can see veteran status as well. Anyway, if you're on the app, this will be at the top of the app, or go to track PPP data to see this on the app. Here is why there are delays right now. Okay, the SBA tried to make improvements between last round and this round. Part of that was API access. So banks and lenders could submit applications via API. That helped especially a lot of the smaller folks, the credit unions who didn't have the capability the first time around. For example, a lot of folks would just have a batch upload, and so that took time. But the problem with the new approach is that it rejects some applications and it's a bit more finicky. I talked about this in an earlier video today, that sometimes it's too efficient for its own good and it's causing delays. One anecdote from a lender we talked to earlier today was that in the first round, they often heard back from the SBA within minutes. This time around, it's taking 1 to 2 days. Best case, sometimes it's a few days or more. So if you've applied, there's 2 steps basically. The lender has to vet your application, make sure you're not fraud, and do their necessary checks. That's on the lender side. Once you pass that, and some of that is automated and some of that is manual, depending on your application and your situation. But once you pass that, then they send your information to the SBA. Then the ball is in the SBA's court to approve or deny your application. But they will review your application and make sure you haven't applied and been approved anywhere else. And then, in theory, they would approve your loan, etc. Then the lender can send you the closing documents and wire you the money. That's the simplified version of how the process works. So don't give up hope. I'm glad to see this data. This is positive. 500,000 loans already approved. Only just over 10% of the total dollar amounts that's available. So plenty of room here. We expect the next few weeks we'll see a big push, and then we won't see much until the end of the program. But always keep that in mind. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing to our channel. And the 2 links to remember: if you want to apply for a PPP loan, go to trackpploan.com. If you've already applied, go check out our app. If you don't have our app, go to trackppdata.com. You'll go right to a download link for our app, and you'll see all the latest data as it becomes available. Stay well, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.